Britain runs on diesel, always has. From the first lorries that rolled down the M1 in the 1950s to the 44-ton Arctics hammering up the A1 every morning, diesel has kept this country moving for over 60 years. But right now, at showgrounds across Britain, something is shifting. A new generation of trucks has arrived, and they run on electricity, gas, and fuel made from waste vegetable oil. Some of them can already go further than a diesel on a full tank's worth of range. The question is whether they are actually good enough to replace the engine that built British haulage. Here are the trucks making that case. Number 6, Iveco S-Way 500 CNG Force of Nature. We start with a truck that is not electric and is not hydrogen, and that is exactly the point. Iveco unveiled the Force of Nature at the 2025 Road Transport Expo at NAEC Stoneleigh in Warwickshire, and it stopped people cold the moment they walked onto the stand. Hand-painted in vivid green over gloss black, carrying a personalised plate reading X8 CNG, and built around the most powerful compressed natural gas engine on the market. Beneath the paint and the showmanship is a production truck built to run 44 tonnes on British roads, and its emissions numbers make a compelling case that going green does not have to mean going electric. The Excurso 13 engine produces 500 brake horsepower and 2,200 Nm of torque. Those numbers compete directly with the biggest diesel tractor units available today. 8 CNG tanks are positioned within the chassis rather than behind the cab, keeping the combination within UK length limits with a total capacity of 800 litres. That is enough compressed natural gas to cover over 500 kilometres on a single fill. The show truck was built in partnership with Astra Vehicle Technologies in Flintshire, which handles the 4x2 to 6x2 chassis conversion for the UK market while keeping the factory warranty intact. The aerodynamic camera mirrors replace traditional wing mirrors and cut drag by up to 1.5%. The high-performance engine brake is 30% more effective than the previous generation, reducing the need for a separate retarder in most situations. Predictive cruise control reads topographical data to optimize speed ahead of hills and descents, delivering additional fuel savings across long routes. The key number is the emissions reduction. When the S-Way CNG runs on biomethane, which is gas produced from organic waste including food waste and farm slurry, CO2 emissions fall by up to 95% compared to an equivalent diesel. NOx is down by up to 90%. Particulate matter drops by up to 95%. Iveco has been building CNG trucks for over 20 years, so the technology is not new. But a 500 horsepower unit capable of the full 44-ton British standard is a step change. Tesco ordered 42 of the production version in 2025. The UK CNG refuelling network, operated mainly by CNG Fuels, currently stands at around 15 publicly accessible sites. But for operators whose routes already pass a CNG station, the case is straightforward. Same payload, same gross weight, lower running costs, and 95% fewer CO2 emissions. That is a lorry moving groceries across Britain right now.
Number 5. MAN eTGX Electric.
MAN premiered the all-electric eTGX tractor unit at RTX 2024, and its presence there said something important. One of the most trusted names in European commercial vehicles was no longer watching from the sidelines. The eTGX is a 4x2 tractor rated to 42 tons gross combination weight. Its permanently excited synchronous motor produces 330 kilowatts, which converts to 449 metric horsepower, with 1,150 newton meters of torque. 480 kilowatt-hour battery packs give a total capacity of 320 kilowatt-hours. DC charging is rated at 375 kilowatts. The chassis offers CCS connection points on both sides of the front cab, which matters practically for depots that were not designed around plugging in a tractor unit. What pushes the eTGX onto this list is the range MAN claims for the updated eTGS rigid configurations launched at RTX Scotland in 2025, up to 750 kilometres. If that holds in real British operating conditions, that figure exceeds what most diesel Arctics cover before pulling over for fuel. The honest caveat is that range depends heavily on load, temperature and speed, and 750 kilometers on a winter run at 44 tons into a headwind will be a different number. But MAN bring e-mobility consultants to every RTX specifically to work through individual duty cycles with operators, because the commercial case depends entirely on how a specific fleet actually runs. For operators with defined daily routes out of a fixed depot, the eTGX is already a working proposition. This is not a vehicle in development. It is a truck you can order today. Beyond range, the eTGX matters for what it represents in the market. Britain's heavy truck sector has been dominated for 40 years by European manufacturers who built their reputations on diesel. Volvo, Scania, Mercedes, DAF and MAN itself. The fact that MAN is now committing to full electric production at this weight class and bringing it to RTX to demonstrate to British fleet managers specifically is not a gesture. It is a product line. The infrastructure around it is also growing. Gridserve's electric freightway programme is putting high-power charging hubs at key points on the UK motorway network, and MAN's dealer network is training technicians for electric service across Britain. For operators already in MAN's ecosystem, the path to the eTGX does not require starting from scratch. Number 4. DAF XG Electric DAF have been collecting Truck of the Year awards faster than most manufacturers win one. The XD Electric and XF Electric were jointly named International Truck of the Year 2026, DAF's third win in 5 years. In May 2026, series production started on the next step. The XG Electric and the XG Plus Electric, built at their Eindhoven plant in the Netherlands, and already heading to their first customers in European logistics. The XG Plus draws immediate attention because of the cab. It sits 33 centimeters longer than the already generous XF, making it the largest production cab on the European truck market. For drivers spending nights in the cab on runs across Britain and the continent, that extra space matters more than almost anything on a spec sheet. The powertrain is DAF's PACCAR EXD2 unit, offering outputs from 270 to 350 kilowatts up to 480 horsepower with 2,400 newton meters of torque. 2 electric motors combine with a 3-speed integrated transmission that DAF say delivers smooth gear changes and very low cabin noise. Up to 5 lithium iron phosphate battery packs can be fitted to the chassis, and DAF claims potential driving ranges of more than 500 kilometers depending on configuration. The XG Plus is also expanding into 6x2, 6x4, and 8x4 configurations for construction and vocational applications. So this is not purely a motorway distribution truck. It is designed to cover the varied operational profile that British fleets actually run. Its electrical architecture is shared with the award-winning XD and XF Electric, both of which are already in daily commercial service. For operators looking for a proven drivetrain inside the biggest cab available, the XG Plus answers both requirements at once. There is also a practical note worth making about the battery chemistry. LFP, lithium iron phosphate, is increasingly the choice of manufacturers building trucks for hard commercial use rather than headline range figures. It handles charging cycles and temperature variation better than NMC alternatives, and it degrades more slowly over a long service life. For a fleet manager buying a truck that needs to work for 10 years and 1.2 million kilometers, battery longevity is not a secondary consideration. It is central to whether the total cost of ownership ever makes sense. The XG Plus uses LFP across its full battery configuration, and that decision aligns it with the Mercedes eActros 600 and the Volvo FM Electric in prioritizing durability over maximum range claims. Number 3. Mercedes-Benz eActros 600. If you want a single truck that shows how quickly this technology has moved, the Mercedes-Benz eActros 600 is it. 500 kilometers of range on a single charge, London to Edinburgh with miles left over, up to 22 tons of payload. It made its UK public debut at the Road Transport Expo, won International Truck of the Year 2025, and operators have been ordering them in volume ever since. The eActros 600 carries 3 lithium iron phosphate battery packs at 207 kilowatt-hours each, totaling 621 kilowatt-hours. LFP chemistry was a deliberate call, no nickel, no cobalt, better thermal performance than other lithium chemistries, and a design service life of 1.2 million kilometres over 10 years. That matches what operators expect from a well-maintained diesel drivetrain and removes the anxiety about early battery replacement that has slowed fleet decisions on electric trucks. Peak output from the Axial is 600 kilowatts through a 4-speed transmission, where a megawatt charging system connection is available, which BP Pulse is installing at Ashford International Truck Stop, and GridServe is fitting across the electric freightway network. The truck charges from 20 to 80% in approximately 30 minutes, timed precisely to fit inside a driver's mandatory rest break. Amazon ordered 160 of them for UK deployment in January 2025, making it the largest electric HGV fleet in Amazon's global transport network. In June 2026, the Mercedes-AMG Petronas Formula One team deployed one to cover all 9 European races of the 2026 season, from Monaco through to Madrid, covering over 15,000 kilometres. The first leg alone, from Brackley to Monaco, covered more than 1,600 kilometres without issue. Mercedes calculates that when charged on renewable energy, the eActros 600 brakes even on lifetime CO2 against a comparable diesel truck after just over 100,000 kilometres, then saves up to 80% in CO2 equivalent over its full service life. If the Rolls-Royce Eagle was Britain's prestige engine because of what the name said about quality, the eActros 600 is making a similar argument with numbers. The charging piece is worth dwelling on because it is where the eActros 600 makes its strongest practical argument. 30 minutes from 20 to 80% via megawatt charging is not a theoretical number. It is what happens when you pull into a GridServe electric freightway hub, which are being built right now at Extra Baldock on the A1M and Moto Exeter on the M5. Moto has plans for up to 300 HGV charging bays at 23 motorway locations by 2030. BP Pulse is fitting megawatt-level chargers at Ashford International Truck Stop. These are not future plans filed in a ministerial briefing. They are sites under construction. The charging infrastructure that makes the Actros 600 viable on long-haul British routes is being built in the same period that operators are deciding whether to place their first orders. The timing, for once, is aligned. Number 2 Volvo FM Electric. Volvo is the current market leader for tractor units in the UK, and they have been delivering the FM Electric in series production since 2022. Not demonstrating it, delivering it. Powerday, a London-based waste and recycling business, is running electric Volvo FM low-entry 8x4 rigids with hook loader equipment. Wright Readymix in Bristol is operating a Volvo FMX electric concrete mixer in place of a diesel model. Stuart Harvey Transport has taken on a new FH Aero variant for long-haul work. These are working vehicles on commercial contracts every working day. The updated FM Electric rolling out from 2026 uses a new dual-motor driveline with an 8-speed power-shift gearbox. Range is up to 470 kilometres. It charges from 20 to 80% in approximately 65 minutes on 350 kilowatt CCS. The gross combination weight reaches up to 65 tonnes in certain international configurations. The critical practical development in this generation is the integrated gearbox power takeoff, which allows the truck to run refuse bodies, concrete mixers, and hook lifts directly from the drivetrain during operation without separate motors. That solves one of the main technical objections vocational operators had about switching to electric for specialist work, and it is a feature competitors are now racing to match. The FM Electric also meets London's 5-star Direct Vision standard, which governs which trucks can operate in the capital. The low-entry cab configuration positions the driver closer to street level, improving visibility of cyclists and pedestrians around the vehicle. For operators running into London regularly, this is not a future consideration. It is a compliance requirement today, and the FM Electric already passes it. Number 1. Volvo FH Aero Electric in April 2026. Volvo Trucks announced something that most people in the haulage industry would have called impossible 3 years earlier. A battery electric truck with a range of up to 700 kilometres on a single charge. Volvo President Roger Alm described it as the best long-haul electric truck in the industry. Looking at the specification, it is difficult to argue against that.